Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the Renovation and Outdoor Living Show, brought to you, of course, by Refresh Renovations and Zones Landscaping. Good to see you all, and welcome to this Friday afternoon. The theme for today, effortless design. So this show, as you'll know, if you've been watching this last couple of weeks, is all about asking and answering the questions we have about renovation and outdoor design, both indoor and outdoor, of course. Ask them questions anytime during the show. We've got a couple of experts on today. We have access to all sorts of other experts who we are feeding the questions through to. So if you've got any burning questions, throw them our way while we've got the experts on the show, and we can get those answered. Now, the question which we did have a few days ago, about 3 days ago, was this question. Now, it was answered by, we went to Kim Reike, who runs Refresh Renovations, Franklin and Monaco in South Auckland. And the question was, is a bath over the shower passé, or is it having a resurgence? What if there's a lack of space? I wonder whether that question should actually be, is a shower over a bath passé? But if you've ever built a bath over a shower, please send us a photo and tell us how it's working for you. So is a shower over a bath passé, or is it having a resurgence? What if there's a lack of space? Now, the answer from Kim was, the shower over the bath is still very common. You're 100% correct. It is a space-saving option. We see so many leaking baths from the shower water in this instance. However, materials have evolved in recent years, and solutions are becoming more reliable whilst being aesthetically pleasing. We are, however, seeing a trend towards these baths being removed and being replaced with level entry walk-in showers, taking up only a little more space as these showers over baths solutions. There you go. So they're becoming more reliable, but the walk-in level entry walk-in showers tend to be replacing them. Certainly in our house, we've got the shower over the bath, and it doesn't seem to have any problems. Although it is the one the kids use, so I don't know how much the shower's actually used. Anyway, now the other thing I have to do is also congratulate Danny Reese. Now, Danny, the reason why we're congratulating you is you asked the best question last week. We said on Tuesday this week, we said we'd give away a bit of a prize today. And your question was, do you have advice of how high to tile up a bathroom wall if budget constraints to not tiling up the entire wall? Now, we did talk about that during the show. You've won yourself, by the way, Danny, a Tile Depot cooler bag and coffee cup. So please, if you want to claim your prize, can you just send us a message down to this page directly? And if you want the answer to that question, well, you can go back and have a look at the last episode. Not just the first bit when no one could hear me, but the better bit when you could actually hear what the experts were saying. Although you probably may have enjoyed the bit when you couldn't hear me more than the rest of it. So to today, effortless design is what we're talking. And when it comes to the design, where better to start than the center of house, the kitchen. Now, with 15 years kitchen design experience, Kristen Reed operates her own design business in Rangiora. Here's Kristen. Her first contact with Mastercraft Kitchens, though, was as a designer for their licensee in North Canterbury. So for the past 4 years, Kristen's been the head designer for Mastercraft Kitchens nationally. Kristen's also a busy mum who's previously built 4 homes and has finally settled on her farm in North Canterbury, where I'm hoping, Kristen, you will be this afternoon. Really good to see you. You've popped up. Really good to see you all the way from Rangiora. Now, you've built 4 homes. I thought that everyone I've ever seen who's built a home, they say never again. You've done it 4 times.
Well,
I'm very
to be
impressed.
fair, I didn't have a choice. I'm married to a builder, so it's
Okay.
part of the deal, I think. Yeah.
So you watched 4 homes being built whilst designing your perfect kitchen in each case.
I'm not that lucky. I'm definitely a tools-on kind of wife. I definitely have to help, that's for sure.
Cool. And actually, to be honest, though, being practical like that, does that actually help when it comes to designing kitchens, when you're actually thinking about the aesthetics and the overall design?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think good designers need to have a good grip of the building industry, because you need to know the process in and out. You need to know what trade comes next, and what decisions you're making in your designs and how they're going to affect other trades, and of course how it's going to affect your client's budget as well. So it is important to know every step of the way, even if you are only focused on a very small part of the build.
Yeah, it's a bit like builders who probably wish all architects were also builders, so that what they're told that they want, that they realize they can actually get it. Anyway, let's talk about kitchen design. I've been brought up with one bit of knowledge about kitchen design is that is the golden triangle is essential to every good kitchen. Tell us about this and whether I'm right or wrong or in between.
You're definitely in between. So the working triangle, anyone who thinks of kitchen design instantly thinks, oh, the working triangle. And that is still relevant, but that was a design formula that was actually formed in the 1940s for kitchens that had only one cook. So in today's life, it's becoming more irrelevant to a point, or it's more complex now, so we need to evolve that theory. So yeah, typically we still would have the triangle, which is the triangle between the fridge, the sink, and the hob. But it is a lot more complex in the sense that kitchens are more open plan now. So we need to make sure we have the distance of bench top between, say, the hob and the sink at a good measurement too. So, and not necessarily, the fridge isn't always in the kitchen nowadays. If people have huge walk-in sculleries, often it's in there. So it needs to have good flow. And that's where you might hear the word cooking zones come in. So we have a prep zone, a cook zone, and a clean-up zone. So yeah, so it's still it is still correct, but only to a point.
That's interesting, and the picture we're looking at here is a classic example where you've got your hob and your oven and your fridge all lined up on one side, and then you've got the sink just to the left. And of course, it makes complete sense, doesn't it? Because it is. You're right. And so this is all about as we've gone open plan. How often, though, do you see people not adopting the open plan, or is it always open plan now? Is that just the way we're all living?
Yeah, most of the time. Kiwis are a big fans of open plan living because the way we entertain is quite, we all sort of entertain in the same way where it's very social, and often we're using barbecues and things. So big islands are the Kiwi dream now, is to have a big island that is opening to an outdoor space. That's the ideal these days, and what we often, in a big percentage of the homes we are doing. A closed off kitchen room it's very rare. In fact, I can't remember doing a complete kitchen design within one room for many years. In fact, I can't even think of one off the top of my head.
Yeah, everyone's ripped them out by now, or is still ripping them out. By the way, if you're watching, you've got questions for Kristen while we've got her for another couple of minutes. So please throw your questions through. Hi to Wayne, who from Refresh My Note who's just joined us. Annalie Waitman says hello. Hello, Pamela. Yep, you've asked us a question about bathrooms. We'll be talking about that next week. Vanessa, hi, nice to see you. So Kristen, let's talk about. We've got a great example of the island here. How important is it the space though between your bench top, because it's all about optimizing space now, isn't it? So are there measurements you have to stick to, or is it just about how it feels? I mean, when you're sitting down to do your design, do you have to say to some clients, it's just going to be too cramped?
Yeah, we do. And people, space saving issue is a problem, but there are rules that we need to comply to keep the kitchen safe. So there's a minimum distance between an open oven door and an opposing bench. So we need to adhere to those. Even in a renovation, will it matter? It does matter. We do need to make sure that we're sticking to those. So we like to keep island bench tops at around 1,300, sort of as a minimum between bench tops, but it really does depend on the space. So with a renovation, often we've got constraints of, load-bearing walls and windows and all these other sorts of things that can impact those decisions. So each kitchen design is very unique to that property.
How much time do you spend when you're designing? Sorry, how much time do you spend when you're designing actually about the space-saving thing? I mean, there must be so many good innovations now. The days of people having massive walk-in pantries plus another room for all their appliances and that sort of thing, they must be pretty stretched to do it. But it seems as though kitchen design's got quite clever. It's actually been able to incorporate them all in really, really clever spaces.
Yeah, people are focusing a lot more on space-saving ideas and accessible spaces. So a lot more thought and a lot more of their budget is going into making sure corners are accessible rather than having just a basic corner where you can't reach the back and you have to get down on your knees to see. People are investing more in drawers so that, the back of the corner comes right out into the kitchen. So it's very easy to use, because the kitchens that we're designing and building, they're designed to last 30 years. So if our clients are, wanting to stay in that home that long, we need the kitchen to be accessible. Say if they are going to be still in that home when they're 90, they need to be able to easily use their kitchen. So meeting those life mark standards as they change.
Okay. Funnily enough, here's a question which sort of links to that, and it's come from Carla, who said, "Look, in a small kitchen, would you recommend the cabinetry to the ceiling?" The reason why I say it, I suddenly picture this 90-year-old in this massive kitchen trying to reach the cabinetry. But on a serious note, though, it's a really good question. Does it make it feel too small?
Well, I do recommend units going to the ceiling if it's going to be accessed in a safe way. If we are, as a designer, you have to take each family's into account. So if it's for an older person, you've got to make sure that they've got access to a step ladder if that's going to be the case, or that the shelves are dropped down. There's some really cool like German-made accessories. So it's a shelf that actually can drop down, and you can load it up and actually push it back up. So there are lots of accessories to make that space usable if you need to use that space. But I do like units going to the ceiling because personally I don't like dusting up there, and I don't think anyone does. So
Such a good idea.
It's always nice to go to the ceiling.
But where did you put all the rubbish which you never use, the bowls which are given for the anniversaries and the trays and that sort of thing? Anyway, hey, another quick question before we lose you is Annalie says, what brand of extractor fan's the quietest? She needs to replace hers.
So if you can use a remote motor extractor, so that's where the motor is either mounted in the ceiling or on the feet or on the roof, they're always good. And the ones I like to use are the Schwagen, and there's Wispier, and the other one is, I'm having a mind blank because it's off the cuff.
That's it. You've given us enough.
Sirius.
You've given us a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. So those two brands are really good, and I would recommend those.
All right, Annalie, there you go. Very quickly, I know I said I was going to let you go, but Stacey's just written in the question saying, look, in a kitchen, would you recommend a contrasting colour for the splashback or keep it the same?
It depends on the style of the home. It really does. Some cases it can look amazing, and in some places, in some homes, depending on the style of the home and the era of the home, it can be a bit polarizing, and it can actually detract from the beautiful features of the home. So it's really, send us some pictures and I'll give you my opinion.
I was going to say, there's the answer, isn't it? So Stacey, you've got to get hold of Mastercraft. We've got the head designer on the show here, so send some pictures in. Seriously, if you want to, we can get hold of you through Facebook, and then we can get those pictures to Kristen to have a look for you. Hey, Kristen, thank you very much indeed. Really, really good to see you. We'll speak to you again during as the season goes on, I certainly hope. But good to see you, and thanks for joining us all the way from North Canterbury.
Cool.
Now, while we're about to introduce our second expert, but before we do that, I just wanted to say, if you want to comment on the show, okay, I've got a question for you. If you want to win a prize, okay, you've got to tell me what the three aspects were to the kitchen triangle, okay? Can you remember what the three aspects of the kitchen triangle are? We talked about it at the beginning of our chat with Kristen. Chuck it in a message down onto Facebook right now, and you'll go into the draw to win a $50 Mitre 10 voucher. And very soon, you're actually going to be able to shop at Mitre 10 again. So comment below. You'll go into the draw in our next episode next week. We'll tell you who's won that. Now, our second expert today is Shane Harris. Now, Shane is the National Sales Manager at composite decking company Outdoor. He's been with Outdoor for 4 years. His specialty area is residential commercial landscaping. He spent 3 years now working with Zones and with Refresh Renovations. He actually works with, obviously, on both sides of the fence, being the indoor-outdoor guy. Shane, good to see you this afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Very quickly, Shane, just explain the name Outdoor, because there must be a good reason why that's what your company's called.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. The company, the name stands for outdoor and durable.
Exactly. So this gives us an idea of what you do. You build decks, but the real magic is in the support for the deck. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. We developed a system called Quick Build, which is an aluminium subframe system. So different from traditional timber deck subframes.
Okay, and so this is about not, because I'd assumed that every deck you still had to drill down into the ground, fill it with concrete, put the wooden posts in, and then you build the nice stuff on top. But you're saying actually forget about all that.
Yeah, well, with technology and innovation, we decided there was a space in the market for a low height decking solution, and that's where Quick Build was originally come up with. Basically, there was a need in the market to build very low to the ground decks where timber is typically unstable, and hence why we went with aluminium. So we can go as low as 71 millimeters from the ground level to the finished deck level.
So how do you do it? What's the process? I mean, you don't bring aluminium out onto site and start sort of constructing something randomly, do you?
No, so we do it a couple of different ways, but the main way we do it is Quick Build is actually a prefabricated system. So by that we mean we come to the site and we do a site measure. We use a 3D laser scanner. It's then imported into Revit, and our team designs a construction drawing layout into configurable modules. That is then prefabricated in our factory and comes to site in a kit set form. So very, very fast to install because majority of the work's been built off-site.
Yeah, so how long to install an average deck?
Yeah, so it kind of depends, but reality, it's on average half the time it takes to build a traditional timber deck. So some really good labor saving time there.
So, and that obviously would translate into cost saving as well, or but then again, having said that, I guess the materials are that much more expensive.
Yeah, on your normal on a normal project, it basically works out on par if you're building, say, a traditional timber deck. So, and sometimes it can work out cheaper depending on the layout and the configuration. Yeah.
So what are the huge, apart from the fact you haven't got a team on site for nearly as long, you mentioned the fact that Outdure is about durability. So I'm presuming that's one of the advantages of using your system over a more traditional system.
Yeah, that's right. And what we found over the years is with timber being exposed to moisture, it tends to degrade and lose its durability over time, whereas aluminium is designed to last, like I said, very low to the ground, and it provides that durability and that low maintenance aspect.
It's really clever, isn't it? What about the topping? I don't know if that's the technical name for what you put on top of the deck, but what about the topping? Can you put any wood, any materials on there? What's your limitations?
Yeah, so the one great thing about Quick Build is the flexibility to run whatever decking surface you like. So we offer a range of decking surfaces, whether it be composite decking, exterior tiles, or turf. It can also be used with any hardwood timber, or the beauty of Quick Build is you can use a combination of decking surfaces on the one frame. So you can have mix and match your design and use a combination.
And I'll ask the question the other way. What about underneath?
Yeah, also flexibility there as well. So normally your typical house has a step down from your indoor living surface to your outdoor living area. Basically what we've designed is a system that can provide you a level entry transition from your indoor to your outdoor, can go directly over any existing concrete patio area or paved area, and then extend out onto the grass to create whatever shape or design deck you like.
That's really clever, isn't it? That's so interesting. Hey, Shane, thank you so much. That's fascinating. So what was the product called again? Quick Build?
Quick Build, yeah.
Quick Build, awesome. Hey, Shane, thanks so much. Now, before you go, as is going to become the tradition of the show, if you end up being the second person up, or the second expert, you end up getting some quick fire questions thrown at you at the end. So I'm going to throw those at you now. Now, the largest deck you've ever worked on, and how long it took you to build, even if this was I mean, were you building decks before Outdure, or was that your introduction to deck building?
Yeah, that was my introduction to deck building. I've been in construction for 15 years, but this was my introduction to deck building. And the largest one I've personally worked on was 1,200 square meters. That was for the good side at Smales Farm, which is an outdoor entertaining area with bars and restaurants, and has a combination of hardwood decking and structural tiles all on our Quick Build subframe. Wow,
that's incredible. And by the way, just a word of advice there, they've got the most efficient parking wardens up there as well. So you may want to met them while you're working on it. So 1,200 square meters. How long did it take you?
That project was completed. We had a lot of other trades on site, but the decking probably really took sort of about 2 weeks from beginning to end for the whole structure and materials on top.
For a 1,200 meter deck, that's massive, isn't it? Okay, consents. How long does it take to get them? Are they usually approved? Do you even need them?
So typically outdoor decks are normally low height decks, so they normally fall with under the consenting height of 1 metre. So typically we don't need to handle the consent process, but in saying that, we also do decks high off the ground or whatever people require, and we have engineering and what have you to back up the consenting process.
And third quick-fire question, is it easy for me to pair my deck with a pergola?
It's definitely easy. The beauty with the quick build system is it's designed to fit your bespoke space. So pergola, louver roof, what have you. It seems every second job has a louver roof of some type at the moment. So it's definitely, in New Zealand, you need shade over your deck, and that's something we're well and truly capable of working with.
Yeah, although it's no surprise they are going with the louver roofs, as I found out when we were talking about them last week. Shane, I was going to let you go. Quick question here, though. Is there a product to cover the underside of the top deck so you don't have to look at the bolts and plates? That's from Anne Lee. Certainly the pictures we were looking at, you can't see anything underneath.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. I mean, it really is a beautiful looking finished product, and you really can't see any of the mechanics under it once the decking surface is on. And it just creates a low maintenance outdoor living space that you can enjoy for years to come. Yeah,
it doesn't look any different. It looks as neat as any deck I've ever seen. Hey, Shane, thank you so much for your time there. That's Shane Harris there joining us from Outdoor. Really interesting product. I had no idea it even existed. So that brings us to the end of episode 4. Very quickly, you can start thinking a wee bit in New Zealand. If you're watching from New Zealand, we've recently been told level 3 on this isolation on this COVID process is potentially on us in maybe a week, 10 days time. We don't know quite when. But so I've had a look at this, and I think, to clarify, if you're doing a renovation project or you're doing a landscaping project, the first thing is that suppliers will be able to supply now, albeit online, but that's fine. So they can come and deliver. And the other part of it is the way I've read it is, and this certainly applies to building and construction, is that if you want to get on site, I read that you are allowed to now, as long as you still respect that social distancing with your clients or with your colleagues, with your team. So I do think that probably means that it's not going to be long before everyone's going to be able to get back relatively to normal and actually get their teeth into these various projects. That's it from us. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Do remember, in a moment, we're going to put up a picture which will show you the numbers you can ring if you want to talk to the experts from either Refresh Renovations or Zones Landscaping. Jump on the phone or just leave some more messages here on Facebook, and we'll do it all again next week. Good to see you. Bye-bye.